So today we're talking about Scar Symmetry. They are a Swedish melodic death metal band. They're from Avesta. The Singularity Trilogy is a series of albums by the band Scar Symmetry. It was announced on January 20th, 2014. So this trilogy revolves around the theme of transhumanism. It explores the concept of the singularity, which is a hypothetical point in the future when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence. So for those of us paying attention, this kind of seems like something that could happen. You know, when you think of it, back in 2014, there was nothing like a chat GPT or any of those like AI that we have right now. So that's something very interesting. So let's talk more about this trilogy. So each album in the trilogy has like different concepts. So the first one is Phase 1, Neo-Humanity. This album was already released in 2014. And the story is it's about the rise of these like artilects, which are artificial intellects. And they're a lot more intelligent than we are. So the album explores the idea that by the year 2030, which at this point is only 7 years away, artificial brains become this major industry, and they control and have these like useful of these like artilects. So the lyrical content of Phase 1 also addresses social issues coming from the emergence of the transhumanists, incorporating artilect technology into their own. Now for Phase 2, Xenotaph, which is this album right here. Now, this album had lots of delays, and a lot of these were unexpected. So basically, it was originally going to be released in 2017, but then the band's vocalist, his name is Robert Carlson, he was going to have a child, so they had to postpone touring until 2015. And two of the other members in the band, whose names are Per Nielsen and Henrik Olsen, began working on this album, Phase 2. So it wasn't until March 12, 2019, when they announced the resignation of their bassist, Andreas Holma, because of a dispute with touring. And this, in turn, affected the progress of Phase 2. And on March 30th, 2023, the band finally released the first single, Scorched Quadrant. And they released a music video the next day. And they announced the new album, which is The Review. So let's just jump right into the songs because there's like a lot to unpack. The album opens with Chronometalist. It's a song that comes out right out the gate. It has some harsh vocals and technical guitar riffs, some cleaner, more melodic vocals in the background. I found it interesting. They use a lot of different vocal styles mixed into this one song. The music is very complex. It's not the type of music that captures your attention immediately. It's something you need to listen to and pay attention. I also hear a lot of different styles in the music, everything from technical death metal to symphonic black metal. Scorched Quadrant seems to be a little more menacing. I felt it was a little more straightforward as the melody is concerned, and this was also the first single. It has all the elements I described above. The lyrics in the song continue the story of the Xenotaph. Something I didn't really understand at first, but as I read the lyrics, it kind of made more sense. It's a song that mentions, basically they're telling a story. This song in particular mentions drones flying overhead searching for humans. That type of thing. I hear a lot of progressive metal on this album and on the song in general. So, for example, the guitar solo reminded me a lot of Dream Theater. Then Overworld was another one of the more accessible songs. They also had a music video, and this reminded me of something like early Queensryche. I had a lot of those same things I was hearing on the first two songs, the clean and harsh vocals. They were interchanging with each other. Altergeist is a song that kind of sounded like a 90s video game with those 16-bit electronic melodies, or at least that's what I got from it. One of the more progressive and complex songs. The song's a little longer. It's over 6 minutes long, and it's just filled with a lot of intricate playing. I also found it interesting reading the lyrics. It describes this bleak future where the world has been taken over by artificial intelligence, or at least that's my understanding of it. I think if you're somebody who likes to read science fiction books, it would be something you would find interesting. Then Reichsfall is one of those like genre-defining songs because the first few seconds makes you think it's going to be more of like a melodic power metal type of song, but then a few seconds later it gets very heavy with the harsh vocals, almost like death metal style guitar riffs, and after that it reverts back to more of its melodic sound, so we get something like this halfway through the album. Then Die Frenia Dawn is a cool song, and there's a mix of heavy parts and cleaner breakdowns and melodic singing. I found the lyrics interesting. I'm going to read a short excerpt from the lyrics that's from the beginning of the song, and it says, "If you turn off the machinery, you turn off our hearts, our souls. Nothing but circuitry remains." So that's kind of interesting. It's almost like giving like this human element to these machines. So it's like the artificial intelligence, they evolved to a point where they actually have feelings. So it's something interesting to think about. So moving on, Hyperborean Plains, this one is a melodic intro. I think out of all the songs, it caught my attention a little more than the others. It reminded me of something like Dream Theater, where it would be very technical, but they wouldn't lose the melody, and it was very complex. And I found like another interesting quote from the lyrics, so let me read that again. "Animate the embryo receiving life. A human harvest is set to grow, and the reason we're alive we'll find in time." So that was also interesting. It reminded me of the movie The Matrix, where they have the scene with all the humans growing in these pods. And I think they were going for something like that. Then there's a Gridworm, and it continues the story. It has a sound similar to what we've been hearing throughout the rest of the album. It's a complex song with different vocal styles and time signature changes and a mix of death metal and progressive metal. A Voyage with Tailed Meteors continues with a mixture of harsh vocals and death metal with some symphonic elements. It seems to be one of the heavier songs in the album with some drum beats and a more aggressive tone. I thought it had pretty cool breakdowns. They would shift gears with the rhythm and move to a more melodic sound with clean singing. Soul Scanner was one of the shorter songs in the album, and it's the penultimate song, so I thought the purpose was it kind of sets up the final song, which seems to be the epic closer that brings everything together. But this song, Soul Scanner, I heard a lot of progressive metal elements and lots of complex guitar solos. And this is followed by the final song, Xenotaph, a near 8-minute epic that brings everything together. So everything's going to be bigger and more complex. The song starts off as it's like a movie score that moves into some more like technical death metal guitar riffs. As you would expect, the song is very complex. There are many different transitions going on and some catchy choruses. Let me also read another excerpt from the song. "Xenotaph, you manifested artificial life, and so we intervened here." So that was like one of the choruses that gets repeated. So that kind of like brings a lot of imagery to your mind. Seems to sum up the story, and it's also interesting. The last minute and half of the song was like this instrumental. It sounded like an 80s sci-fi movie with this like 16-bit Nintendo video game type of sound. It was an interesting way, and let's go to my final thoughts now. I thought it was an interesting concept. It's very complex music. I know they're listed as melodic death metal. I'd say that it's more of a progressive metal style. I thought the album was okay in general. I think this was one of those albums where I enjoyed reading the lyrics more than I usually do. I think it's an album for fans of science fiction, books, or movies. The music is very complex. Not the type of album you can put on and expect lots of catchy hooks or choruses. It's something for people who want lots of technical guitar riffs and melodies and lots of different vocal styles. So I thought it was good. It's okay. My score is going to be a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a type of album I need to spend more time with. But let me know in the comments what you thought. Please like this video. It helps me with the algorithm. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Check out this video right here. It will be something related, and I will see you in the next one.